Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Adam Fiala and you're on Collector Collective. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few of the figures from the line of the current range of Masters of the Universe Eternia Minis. We have 4 toys that we're going to be looking at here today. These collectible items are quite popular. They've been around for a longer period of time than you may think. But we're looking at a couple which we're most excited about here at Collector Collective, which will be the He-Man with Ground Ripper. And we're always excited to have a vehicle, always have been ever since we were children and starting to collect these things, and as adults as well who continue to collect Masters of the Universe products. Then we've got also Skeletor here in the, the Rotor. Now these are fantastic little minifigures with vehicles. The vehicles have real wind and roll action, so that makes them a little bit more fun. These are excellent for anyone who may be still wanting to collect the Masters of the Universe range, but actually might be lacking in space, like a lot of us collectors can be. Then we're just going to look at 2 of the basic standard figures, which are going to be first off Stratos and then Evil-Lyn. Now they're all part of what's currently being released ever since 2020 and in the range for the Eternia Minis at the moment. Right now they have over 40 different figures. I mean, some of them of course are just redesigned or repackaged in different packages, as there have been quite a few different play sets as well, with multiple figures included, as well as several recreations of the original toys, including the Battle Damage He-Man and Skeletor, which are currently out now as well, but we won't be looking at those today. But let's have a brief look at the history. So, I mean, the first time He-Man figure in the Eternia Minis range was actually produced was for San Diego Comic-Con back in 2013. Then the range of actual collectibles came out in 2014. So that was when the first range came. So they've been off and on the market for about, 7 years now, and including the very first iteration. And right now they're going strong with the second wave running through 2021. So, I mean, obviously He-Man's been around for a long time, almost 40 years at this stage, being released back in '82 with the original 5.5-inch action figures, which were originally tooled and designed by Mattel, but used what Mattel had already been working on. They were actually starting out with a Conan the Barbarian toy range for the Arnold Schwarzenegger film that had been coming out at the time. But once the level of violence was worked out, what was actually going to be displayed in the film, Mattel decided not to do the toy range as it didn't suit what their family-friendly and kid-friendly orientation was. So a few years later, these had come around. It was a really clever move from Mattel at the time, because they had cornered the market in dolls, of course, with Barbie, who had been around for many years at that stage already. And then Hot Wheels were also an extremely successful line that they'd been running on. And then with the films for Star Wars and the extremely popular Kenner range of action figures from them, they really needed to get into a market there. And of course, coupled with the Saturday morning cartoon show with a whole cast of characters, almost too numerous to mention, but I believe that there may be over 200, including what's been included across comic books and other media. So, without further ado, let's have a quick look at these 4 and see what we think about them. So, to begin with, I believe I'm going to start by starting with Stratos. So they currently stand at 2 inches, or they all stand at 2 inches tall, which is just a couple of inches shorter than the original action figures. They're packaged quite well. They're packaged for display as well, for anyone that may not be wanting to take them out of their packaging. Of course, keeping things mint is part of being a collector, but right now we're going to see what they're like and how playable they may be. So let's start up. And now, so first off in the booklet, now these, I've never opened any of these before. So now this is showing the newer range which are coming out. We've got the Battle Armor Skeletor and He-Man. We've got Anti-Eternia Ram-Man, Ninja, all coming out with this range, which was released in the later part of 2020. And of course, Masters of the Universe logo, what we've all been staring at for years, ever since the first toy line came out. I mean, I guess it's good to include this in there because, I mean, you've always had the new range for every product that Masters of the Universe had been releasing each year on the back of the packet. And I guess maybe it's just a little bit too small on the packaging to fit those in. So, yeah. And here he is. So Stratos is, I believe, actually introduced in, I think, the third wave in about 1984. A Flying Birdman character. He's had quite a few interesting arcs, if you've ever read the comic books, which have been around for quite a long time. He is, perfect redesign of what the original ones were, with the splayed out legs. His wings don't move, but he's got his rocket pack. So, I mean, if we have a look, the detailing is on point for what we would have had in the original toys, and then, of course, the many recreations. Today, many of the more articulated action figures have been licensed out to other toy companies or collectible companies to make outside of Mattel. These are currently only being made by Mattel. I'm not sure if there is a secondary associate company. I think these are purely Mattel branded. He is quite fantastic. I'm really happy with him. It's a little bit simple. Because, I mean, in the original ones from like 2013 and 2014, we were seeing a lot more paint detailing, like a little bit of, shading around, the decals on the belt buckles and things like that. But we ain't mad that they're not included in these ones. So let's have a look at who we are going to be checking out next. Now let's see. Actually, first off, how well will you stand? Yeah, they do all have little holes in their feet, and so if you could get a stand for them, it might be easier. He seems a bit top heavy with that backpack on. So Evil-Lyn, everyone's favorite villainess in the Masters of the Universe, although there's a lot more bad female characters across the She-Ra range. She, of course, was the created to sort of be the opposite for what He-Man had with Teela, which were both the original only female characters. They haven't done a lot with additional female characters for the He-Man mythos. So again, the packaging is exactly the same. Now, I believe that will be her little staff, but let's just see. Exactly the same little checklist that we get. I always like to keep these. This would actually be fun to sort of maybe laminate, but it's all folded up, so I don't know if you want to risk ruining it and ironing it out, but a lot of that stuff just winds up thrown away anyhow. So this will be her little scepter, and okay. Now, well, they've packaged that up well. Hold on. Okay, we're going to get a bit rough here. And we're going to, let's just put her there, take this out with some scissors. Okay. And okay, so much the same as what you would have had with her original Inception in the 85 classic toy. And of course, the many iterations and reproductions ever since. So, and here she is. Now, I think the detailing is excellent. The hands are kind of oversized, but I think that's really what they're going for with these. Maybe a little bit more goofy. I think that her face paint overall has possibly been slightly neglected. Getting that sort of detail in, of course, would be much harder on a factory scale. Anyone that may deal in Warcraft or miniature painting would probably be able to fix that face up just a little bit to make her a little bit more animated and alive. That sides into just the right spot. Okay, so I mean, there's only one head, waist, arm. So they've all only got 4 points of articulation, but these I would highly recommend for anyone who's looking for a gift for a Masters of the Universe collector. Fantastic little desk decals for in the office, which I kind of had become famous for at my place of work. And, you know, maybe come Christmas time, you know, stocking stuffers, or if you wanted to go crazy, get a bunch and put them into a gift bag for children's parties or adults' parties. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And so that's Teela. Sorry, that's Evil-Lyn. Teela's counterpart on Team Skeletor. Now, He-Man is where they really kind of lift up the goofiness, which we see across the whole line for the Eternia Minis. He comes with his sword. He doesn't come with a shield or anything else, or his famous axe, which of course doesn't get featured much at all, if any, in the original animation. And the current Netflix shows, I don't believe you see him with that axe at all. And that grimace, which is almost like a smile, it just kind of makes me laugh, makes me think that, you know, they've definitely come up with this for a sense of fun. So let's tear this box open. Okay, so I should have shown you the back before, but there we go. It just shows you. For combat, place in vehicle, roll into battle. So we are going to get him and Skeletor hopefully crashing into each other if we can. So this first off. Okay, this I love. This is exactly as it was, maybe slight color variation in the original iteration from the original 80s toy, and I don't know that it's ever been reproduced. Okay, the roll into battle. I actually thought that the vehicle was going to wind, but it just rolls on its wheels like any wheeled vehicle action figure toy. You know, little speed dials all in there. Launchy attacks. The face detailing is great. Tank-like wheels. Well, only one brake light. So all this technology for what this vehicle may have also been able to do, whether or not it could, you know, launch like ground attacks up in the air, whatever these may have been for, whether or not it's just engine work, but still a lot of time has gone into shrinking down what we were originally getting and maybe revitalizing it for the modern era, given that we have better technology for that now. And He-Man. So, well, as part of the instructions, armed for battle. But he comes out of his box pre-armed, which is great. Same, only 4 points of articulation. Not a lot of movement on his head. Not a lot of neck either. You know. Alright, so the bulging biceps, more of that than what we've ever seen in Masters of the Universe action figures in the past, but that, I think, just adds to it. His famous bangs, which, you know, no one would consider with hypermasculinity nowadays, and his bob haircut, but perfect. We never disliked them just because of that. And the foothold gets perfect grip into his vehicle there. So let's just see him. Looks great. I mean, back in the day, he would have probably sat in that seat. His legs would have fit perfectly, or any of the Masters of the Universe action figures' legs would have fit perfectly straight into that. He's shown up really well. You know, in one of the many Zoom meetings we have nowadays, you could easily entertain yourself, you know, off camera, rolling this guy back and forth. All right. Well, he's turned out excellently. I'm really happy with that. And we'll move him off to the side. So now, Skeletor and the Rotor. So I don't think Skeletor's equipped with any additional accessories. He's just got the real rolling action as advertised, which I falsely believe to be a wind-up and rolling action. Armed for combat. So, alright, little guns aren't, well, necessarily part of the vehicle's firing system. They're designed to be held, oh well, at least one of them, because I suppose using your imagination, he'll need the other hand to steer. So let's get this all together and see how he fares up against the Ground Ripper. So I've noticed on these, they all have this little hole here, which I guess is possibly a breathing hole to stop from moisture gathering in, as opposed to using the traditional silica packets we get in most toys. All right, goodbye packaging. Let's get him up and out. All right. So first off, Skeletor, our favorite hooded skeleton head. becoming more and more popular in the meme verse than I think anywhere else at the moment. Again, perfectly set for any collector. A great gift for anyone you may know who loves Masters of the Universe, especially those of us who are big Skeletor fans. I mean, He-Man is the hero. He-Man is who we're all rooting for. He is the voice of morality. But I always had an affinity for villains. It's just a little bit harder to get out. But again, let's see. Such fantastic sticker detailing. Spins around on its own axis. Let's see. Now the eyes are a great feature. I wonder what I've always wondered, is there has this been half cyborged with some sort of living being inside it, and that's its actual bloodshot eyes? Again, the figure would have sat in the vehicle, but it's got the little nodule for getting into his foot. Wow, this sighting has not worked out as well as I hoped. Maybe I can pump that up on the edit. So let's see. He is, all right, first off, let's arm him with one of these. So it's going to be Trick Shooter using his left hand, right hand to steer. And let's see. All right. So that's him in the vehicle. I think kind of perfectly set for that. Now, when we are rolling him along, okay, so he's not going to spin by himself. These little rotators run on their own axis. It's a shame. I mean, that could have been a fun mechanic to just put it on a gear set that makes this spin as you drive along. And that could have been a little bit more menacing. It's popped off. Here we go. And now, as is tradition, whenever you have your enemy and hero battling together in vehicles, let's smash them into each other. Yeah. I'll get you, you non-face skin challenged hulking man, you. Although, this guy's brought a sword to a knife fight, a sword to a gun fight. So, never really known to see Skeletor use firing weapons. That weren't, of course, his staff. Although all the vehicles and many of the action figures over the years have come with guns for different reasons. Although we don't see a lot of permanent death in any iteration that you may get these on. I mean, one thing I'm noticing about all of them is they've all got tiny little nipples on the bare-chested figures, including Stratos over here. I think they're most prominent on him. Very tough looking character, very masculine with hairy chest and arms and beard. Let's see. So fighting on the side of Eternia, fighting for their own means of gaining power over Grayskull. All perfectly matched up. These will be a lot of fun to set up and display, and of course just enjoy as dust collectors. And if you're anything like me, it takes quite a while to dust on your shelving furniture, because you've got to pull all these things down and then precisely put them back exactly how we like them. So as far as these go, I think that they serve a lot of purposes. I mean, anyone that may be a avid collector or new to the range or rediscovering the range from your childhood, mournfully talking with other collectors about the many toys that you had back in the day that have now just been lost to the ages, regrettably searching for them on eBay and other platforms. But again, these are a fantastic way to share your interest and love of the brand and the Masters of the Universe range in general, and without taking up too much space. And those of us who love to collect know all about trying to conserve space and trying to make sure we don't have too many things all just kept in a container under a bed somewhere. So I really highly rate these, just simply based on those facts. I mean, they have come in smaller iterations through other license deals. I would highly recommend checking out the range that was released by the Loyal Subjects back in 2019. They are a lot more articulated. Same shrunk down to scale. I think they are an inch taller, but they also have Battlecat and Panther, who are, true representatives of, what we regret throwing away or giving away, when we decide that we're teenagers and too cool for this stuff. And then as adults, realizing that we were never too cool for it and we want to capture that joy again. So all in all, I'd probably give these a solid 8 out of 10. The only reason why it would go to an 8 is because I think that with a character like Evil-Lyn, who I think would be very popular, to any collector, they really did luck out on that face detailing, or miss out on it. It's a real missed opportunity not to have given her a bit more personality in the face, but again, I'm not mad at it. So that's it. So a nice short one just to review what is currently happening with the Eternia Minis. I will be endeavouring to get more of them from the current range that are coming out. And thanks so much for joining me here today on Collector Collective on the review for the Masters of the Universe Eternia Minis unboxing. It's been a lot of fun playing with Stratos, Evil-Lyn, He-Man on Ground Ripper, and Skeletor on Rotor. Again, these are excellent collectibles, which I'll highly recommend to any Masters of the Universe collector, or Minis collector, or Masters of the Universe Minis collector. So if you're interested in them, please keep an eye out for them. I did get these at Pop Culture. I'll throw a link into the description of this video for you to go and check out their website and entire range. We've got a huge range of Masters of the Universe stuff on there at the moment as well. And they always do. It's kind of a staple for them. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, please remember to click like and subscribe. I can't wait to see you again next time. Keep collecting and having fun. See you soon.